Well, hey guys, what is going on? I am Brian, and today we're going to be taking a look at this pretty unique little power station from Browey. So this is their 600 watt briefcase style lithium iron phosphate portable power station. It's got 614 watt hours built inside of it, again with a pure sine 600 watt inverter, and it's just a pretty unique little design of this thing. They call it a briefcase because obviously you've got the top handle up here, and as you can see, it is very, very thin. So it's kind of perfect to like stick underneath the back seat of your truck because all of the ports are up here in the front, so you can kind of reach down below your feet and plug in your phone and charge it up, or the kids in the back seat that are using their iPads watching a movie on a road trip. But it's just a really unique little feature. I can tell you, this thing it's built like a tank. It is very solid feeling. It is plastic, of course, but it feels very, very dense, is the best way I can put it. The unique thing about this power station is over here on the side. So it comes with a built-in 30 watt solar panel. And in fact, this won some type of award in 2022 for the design feature of this, but it's just got a flip down 30 watt panel. Now, 30 watts, yes, it's not going to completely charge this thing up in an hour. I consider this solar panel more of a supplement to using another solar panel, or if just in a pinch, you've got this thing always with you to maybe top it off just a little bit if you're in good solar conditions. But we're gonna test out the solar and see how that works. But overall, I think it's just a really cool little power station. So let's check out some of the features on the front of this unit. So you're gonna have your 12 volt AC output. You're only gonna have one 110 outlet. You're going to have a couple of DC 5521 outputs, as well as your input port right here for charging. And then underneath this flap, you got two quick charge USB-A's and a USB-C 65 watt output. So a very bare bones display. You don't have the actual exact percentage of battery. It's kind of broken out into 100%, 80, 60, 40, and 20%. I wish they would be able to actually put like an 87% or a 32%. But this is the type of battery monitor or battery gauge that you're gonna get. And if we turn on the AC and the DC ports, you're gonna have, of course, your runtime to empty, your amount of input watts, and your amount of output watts. So it really gives you everything that you need. It's just, you know, it's very small, but in this type of form factor, that's what you're gonna get. And I will say though, it's not waterproof. And these ports, at times, can be a little finicky to get put back in, which is one thing that I'm not a huge fan of, but they are pretty dust resistant, I would say, but they are a little finicky to kind of push back in. Right off the bat, let's start off with price on this thing. It's listed on Amazon for $595. However, there is a pretty much constant $100 off coupon, bringing this down to 495 bucks, or around 80 cents per watt hour. But in this kind of unique style, in this unique form factor, and with the solar panel, that 80 cents a watt hour might be worth it to you. So before we get into the solar panel, which is kind of the main star of the show, let's go over some of the capacity testing that I did. So I hooked this up to my DC capacity tester, charged this thing up to 100%, ran it at around 120 watts. And when I came back when this thing was 0%, I was able to get 520 watt hours pulled out of it, which is around 85% efficient. I also did an AC discharge test to kind of test out the inverter on this thing, and I kind of did the same thing. I charged it back up to 100%. I hooked up my watt meter and I ran some incandescent light bulb arrays until this battery ran dry. When I came back, I was able to get 538 watt hours pulled out of it, which is around 87% efficient. So I actually got more capacity off of the AC discharge than I did the DC discharge, but both had a passing score, in my opinion, at 85% or above the rated capacity. And a lot of us use these little power stations to power, say, 12 volt appliances or 12 volt fridge, cooler type things. And we do not want these to cut off, thus resulting in our food spoiling in our cooler. So what I did, I hooked this thing up to one of my little 12 volt coolers. I let it run all night long off of the DC port. I turned the fridge to around 55 degrees so that compressor is not constantly running, because I wanted it to sit idle for a while to make sure this would not cut off. So in the end, I cut it short after 11 hours and 40 minutes. So I can pretty much guarantee that this will power a 12 volt compressor style fridge overnight, and you won't wake up in the morning and have rotted or not cold food because this power station cut itself off. But let's take this thing outside. It's been pretty cloudy these last few days, and I finally got some sun, but I want to see how much we can pull off of these little panels, and then we're going to see if we hook up another 100 watt panel to this Does it work together, or does one kind of cancel the other out? How does that work? All right, so this does have a little kickstand on the back to help with the angle. So we're gonna put that down, flip the solar panel up, and let's see what we're getting. It's really hard to see. Wow, 31 watts. Hopefully I can get this on camera. That's pretty impressive, off a 30-watt panel to be inputting 31 watts. All right, so this does have an MPPT also built into it. It takes your standard 18-volt panels up to 30 volts or 4.5 amps. So here I just have a tiny little 75 or 80-watt solar panel, but I want to see if we're able to double the solar input, because right now, surprisingly, I'm still at, well, I'm in the shade right now. It hops right up to 30 watts again, so I'm still getting max output on this. But let's plug this in and see if it increases at all. Sure does. We're at 56 watts now, 60 watts, and I bet I can even get more if I angle this thing the right way. Okay. Yeah, look at that, 80 watts. There we go, 81 watts, 84 watts. So you are able to use that solar panel and an additional solar panel to essentially double dip your solar input. Again, up to 4.5 amps off of the solar input MPPT built into this power station, but that's pretty cool. You can use both. Now let me unplug this one and watch it go down. So we're at 60, unplug it, and there we go. We drop down to 30 watts or 21 watts, 22 watts. Got a few clouds rolling in. So it definitely works. So let's test the inverter on this thing. So I've got a little space heater here that takes 1500 watts. I do have it on its low setting, but this again is 600 watt inverter. So let's see if I can get this thing dialed in to around 500-600 watts to see if this power station will in fact power it. So 620 watts right off the bat, 730 watts. Oh gosh. Yeah, okay. So it definitely tripped it. So we know that it'll go over 600 watts for a brief period of time. This is a smaller space heater that I have. Let's see what we can get out of it now. 300 watts, 360 watts. We're actually, okay, well, we're actually slowly climbing now. We're at 400 watts. Okay, we're about to pass the 450 watt marker, or close to it. The fans are not kicking on. Obviously, it's not overheating by any means. It's running this 500 watt space heater just fine, and anything over 600 watts, this thing did its job and tripped and shut itself down, which is a safety feature and a good thing. So I would venture to say that pretty much anything 600 watts or below, this unit will run it just fine. I just don't happen to have an appliance that's right at 600 watts. And with this only having one AC plug, it's kind of hard to plug in multiple items unless you get some type of splitter or dual outlet to plug in. I don't have one of those either. But I think this is a pretty good depiction of how this inverter actually works. So I think I'm going to call it here. And without any type of load on this, we're sitting at 113 volts. So this is not a 120 volt power station. It's likely 110 volt. But I think it's a very small inverter. You're not going to use it to power an air conditioning unit or a blow dryer. But to run a few small appliances, I think this will do the trick. Well, so there you go, folks. I do think this is a pretty unique power station. I actually really do like it. It's hard to quantify the build quality on camera, obviously, but it just has a heft to it. It feels really well built. Even when you open up the solar panel, it's got a nice tight tension to it, so it doesn't feel like it's gonna break off, which is always a good thing. This kickstand on the back is a good addition to get a better angle for the sun coming down to hit that little 30-watt panel, which I was amazed that I was able to get the full 30 watts. I even got 31 watts. I wasn't thinking I was going to get 15 or 20 watts, especially in November here in Texas. Solar's a little tricky to catch, but it did pretty well. I don't know who this is for. Again, it's a pretty small inverter at only 600 watts. But if you just have to run a few small LED lights or a lamp or a fan, I think this is a pretty cool little deal, especially given the fact that you can just slide this right underneath your truck seat or car seat or in the trunk or wherever. It just fits in a lot of places that regular standard bigger power stations can't fit into. Now, it does come with a little bag here with all the cords in it, and I like it when these companies send out bags to keep all the cords together. But you do have a DC to 5521 charging cable to charge up in your car while you're using it. It does not have a built-in charging brick, so it does have a brick, an AC brick to charge with it. And you're gonna get around 116 watts out of the wall charging this thing up. So it does not have fast charge. It's gonna take a few hours at 116 watts to charge up the almost 600 watt hours worth of batteries in this thing. So keep that in mind. You can charge AC and solar at the same time to kind of increase that speed, but no fast charging. And it also does have quite a few of these barrel adapters to use in case what you're already using has a built-in 5521 or 5525 or whatever the barrel adapter is. You can take with a supplied cord and use some of these barrel adapters and fit it to it, and they'll work in there. And then of course your instructions and everything, but a little bag to keep all this nice and tidy. I think it's a pretty neat little power station. 80 cents a watt hour is a little high in terms of the competition, but there really is no competition for this. I have not seen another power station that has an integrated solar panel. So that kind of puts this thing in a little class of its own. There's not really a whole lot of competition for it. So I don't know, is 80 cents a watt hour worth it for you for this thing? I think it's pretty cool. Folks, this is the Browey C600. I'm pretty impressed with it, but I will leave a link for this down below in the description for you if you want to check it out. They have a green model and this orange model that I have here. I'm not an affiliate of Browey. The Amazon link will be an affiliate link, but no affiliation with Browey, so I won't get a dime from them if you like this and you want to buy it. So, folks, until next review, we will see you soon. And if you have any questions about this, shoot me a comment and I will get back to you and hopefully give you an answer. But until next time, take care, folks.